All right. So my guest today is Karla Wagner, and she has got a proposal that I think really will benefit the people here in the state of Michigan. And Karla's got an interesting background related to the very subject we're going to talk about. And why don't you just briefly give me a little background on yourself, Karla?
I will. Thank you so much for having me here, Senator. I have a builder's license, a real estate license. I've developed property. I'm a small business owner, so I own a little restaurant and retail shop that were sort of decimated during COVID, which kind of preempted all of this, what we're working on now. And I also prepared tax returns for 12 years professionally, and I was a fully uniformed volunteer officer with the Kent County Sheriff's Department for a while. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good background in terms of your proposal. And your proposal, which has got the ballot language finalized. Now we just have to get the signatures. But the proposal is to return America to its roots, where you didn't have to basically lease your property from the government, which is what happens when you pay property taxes, and they're going up and up with inflation. In Michigan, those who currently own their property, they're going to be going up. It's been going up 5% per year that you owe your lease, in essence, to the government. Because if you don't own your property outright and you have to pay somebody for it, you're basically leasing it. That's what's happening here in the state of Michigan and in many other states. So your proposal is that we remove that property tax, if I have it correct, and I'll let you address that further, and then substitute other areas of revenue for property tax. Because what happened in the old days is people simply would get taxed out of their home. They could no longer afford to live there. And I'm seeing more and more of this happening today. So with that, why don't you fill us in any blanks that I missed there?
Yes, you're absolutely correct, Senator. Our proposal is to eliminate property tax on all property in the state of Michigan. So that would benefit everyone actually, but homeowners, farmers, and businesses, landlords. So if you're a renter, your landlord's not going to pay property tax, your rent will go down, correct? So it is the total elimination of all property taxes in the state of Michigan. And we know that people are concerned about where the replacement revenue is going to come from. So our proposal addresses that. It talks about increasing the general revenue share of sales tax to the local townships and the counties. Counties are not getting any money right now. Townships are. It's constitutionally mandated that the townships get paid money from the sales tax bucket. But we are also going to demand that the state send us back a portion of the state income tax and also the alcohol, the marijuana, and the tobacco taxes to those counties and other local governments, because those are taxes that we already pay. We don't have to pay more taxes. We've proven that we don't have to pay more taxes. But maybe Lansing needs to cut their budgets a little bit. We've seen what they've been spending money on, a hip hop academy and a splash pad and a curling facility and an equestrian facility. That's where our tax dollars are going. And we, as the people that are paying these taxes, we can't afford it anymore. The government, the government is living beyond our means.
You're absolutely correct. I think because the media does not do its job, the public out there does not have full flavor of what's been happening with their property tax. We just passed the largest budget in Michigan's history by far, $83 billion, almost double when I started in the legislature. Incomes have not doubled in that amount of time, but the spending has just been out of control, and the corruption is up the wazoo. There was a well-connected Democrat donor to the governor who got, I believe it was $20 million to open up a nonprofit foundation that she has no background and experience in. And she was able to form the foundation after she got the money. And of course, so many of these things are the friends and family become the board of directors, and the person gets the presidency, and they drain the money. We also heard finally there was some good exposure by the media talking about this health center that the former speaker's former staffer was going to open a no-bid health center for, I believe that was $20 million. And it was going to have a bowling alley, and it was going to have a swimming pool, and all this stuff that they might very well be able to get free use of, since they funded the thing. The staffer had no background in any of this. It was corruption up the wazoo. The attorney who drafted it had been disbarred, and just a slop mess of corruption. That same staffer bought property on this kind of canal with a dam, and they said, well, this dam has to be replaced, even though it was one of the ones that was not marked as an immediate need. There was many that were. And so this gets $10 million. And the guy bought the property just before, and the former speaker again signed off on all this. So there is so much corruption, so much wasteful spending. There was like $50 million blank check given to the city of Pontiac, and on and on and on. The people, I think, are fed up. And of course, the establishment is going to say, oh, we need the money. What are we going to do without the money? Well, start living within your means. Stop wasting these billions and billions of dollars, and then share the revenue back with the local communities, which is the way it was supposed to work.
You are again, you are so spot on, and thank you for some of that insight, because you're right. We don't know that. We're not privy to some of those deals and all of that spending. I mentioned a few, you mentioned a whole lot more, and you opened our eyes to a lot of that. But that is why people are so upset right now. I mean, when I've traveled to about 71 of the 83 counties doing presentations. People don't understand where their property tax dollars are going, and they don't understand how they're being spent. They're trusting a government that I think we can no longer trust in. And that's why people are wanting to pull back their money and saying, if we want the government to spend less money, we have to send them less money to spend. Correct? That's our point. This is our opportunity behind this petition to say, we're not doing this anymore. We can't afford to do this anymore. People are losing their homes for what you just said is to provide a free service for somebody on the other side of the state. That makes no sense. We are losing tens of thousands of people out of the state of Michigan. And when we lose those people, we're not losing the welfare and the unemployed. We're losing the movers and the shakers and the money makers, and they're taking their revenue with them. So our state is losing tons of corporate business tax, sales tax revenue, income tax revenue. It's going away to other states with those people when they're leaving. So that puts a bigger tax burden on the rest of us that are here, and we're losing our homes because of it.
And you're seeing finally the people here in the state of Michigan, because it was Prop A of 1994 is when they capped the existing property tax, so it would be inflation or 5%, whichever is less. Well, inflation's been exceeding 5%, so now the homeowners are seeing these annual 5% increases, and they're saying big jumps in their permanently what they're going to be paying an income tax. And then for those who are buying homes, a lot of times the realtors do not explain to them, listen, this is what the property tax was, but it could be double or triple that amount. I tried to get a form in the legislature that would warn the buyers of this cost, and what currently is buried in 300 pages. I wanted big bold print. Here is the estimate. They can make it pretty darn close. Here's the estimated taxes. Here's what it was. Here's estimated what you're going to pay. Of course, everybody objected to that. They didn't want the buyer to know what the new taxes were going to be. This, oh my God, that'll kill the sales. Well, what happens? These poor people, when they get in, and they didn't calculate this increased property taxes, people are getting foreclosed on. So yeah, it's always the same story, sob story from the government officials, we need more money, more money. But so much is absolute unbelievable waste. I have seen it. These tax credits to these gigantic multi-billion-dollar corporations that create jobs that are like 20,000 or 40,000 a year, and they're acting like this is some great thing they're doing for the people. No, it's for the politicians and it's for the big corporations, and that's who I see benefiting from all of this spending. It's not to the people. So you're absolutely correct in your analysis.
Yeah, we have to do something because, like I said, we can't afford it anymore. We can't afford what they're spending, and all they're doing is making more homeless people because they're turning us out of our homes. If you're an elderly couple and you're forced to sell your home due to property taxes, what are your options? You can't go and buy some, even if you sell your house, what are you going to buy that's going to have less taxes than what they're paying right now because they've lived in their house for 30 or 40 years?
They're going to pay a whole lot more taxes.
Absolutely. And I have not sold a house to a couple younger than 35 in 5 years. They don't even dream of owning a home. I mean, the American dream used to be home ownership, and they don't even think about it. We can't even, it's tough to even for a farmer to pass his farm down to his kids because he's wondering if they're going to be able to afford some of those taxes, even though it's in the family and it's capped. How much business do you have to do? How many crops do you have to raise? Because those taxes do keep going up, even though your value is capped. The millages keep increasing, and we keep voting on more millages because people don't understand. They're not connecting the dots. Those millages are killing us.
Oh yeah.
Millages are killing us. And what is it for? And renters who complain that their rent keeps going up, it's because you are voting yes on a millage that is costing your landlord's property tax to go up. So he's immediately turning around and upping your rent. Figure it out, people. Your rent is going up. If your rent goes up $100 a month to help cover the increase in your landlord's property tax bill, do you want to pay $1,200 a year for the library? Because that's basically what you're doing. Or would you rather just get a $100 a year membership fee from the library? Wouldn't that be less expensive? That makes more sense. And you have a choice. So many of the services on our property tax bills, we don't have a choice. But how many of us actually use those services? The zoo, the museum, how often do people go? The museum, the library, they're ghost towns when you drive past them.
Yeah, very often, you'll have one part of a county outvote the other. Maybe that part of the county uses it, or they just like the idea of it, even if they don't use it. And the other part of the county gets slapped with these huge increases in their taxes. So I'm sure that there's going to be a hue and cry across the state from local governments that they're not going to be funded. But if we increase the revenue sharing, and we stop all the wasteful spending, then we're going to be able to fund those local communities. And yes, the state will go on a diet. And I believe the state is bloated with lard. I see this stuff. I was on appropriations committee, the stuff that the people don't see, this bloated lard all over the place, that you have these legislators will get some pork for their district, and they hold up these big cardboard checks. Look at what I brought, this swimming pool. We've funded a lot of swimming pools. Why should the taxpayers in one area fund swimming pools for another area? Because this person wants to hold up a big cardboard check. Look, I funded $50,000 or $50 million for this or that. That's just for the politician, and it's for the corrupt programs that feed into the political system a lot of money, and then it comes gushing back in state dollars. So the people have to understand you're going to be a net winner by far if we can get this passed, whether you're renting, whether you're owning. Is there any other kind of things that we need to be aware of related to this, or concerns people have that you can address?
I think we talk about when I mentioned the fact that we had so many people leaving the state of Michigan, right? Because they're just being taxed to death. Newsweek just did an article on this, and they interviewed 5 or 6 people across the state of Michigan, and they all said, we can't afford to live here anymore. You know, we're being taxed to death, and it's not just property taxes, it's other taxes. But what I want people to think about, they're always worried about the replacement revenue, Jim, but think about this. If there's no property taxes in the state of Michigan, Michigan taxpayers will not have to be paying companies billions of dollars to come here. Basically, we're bribing them. Please come to Michigan. Here's 3 billion of our dollars, right? And then when they come here, we forgive them property tax. So where's the benefit? We're not even getting the benefit of the property taxes that they're going to be paying into the communities because they're forgiven those property tax dollars. Now, if there's no property tax in Michigan, will we not have businesses coming here to do business here? Will we not have people coming back because there's businesses and there's jobs and there's no property tax? Our corporate business tax bucket, our state income tax bucket, and our sales tax bucket, those revenues will be overflowing. We will gain so much more revenue just from generating more business.
You're right, and that's what business is looking for. They're looking for a uniform, fair, equitable taxing system that they know, okay, I'm going to be treated like everybody else. What we have now is big lobbyists, big donors kicking money into campaigns in order to get some big multi-billion-dollar company all these special deals. So what's happening is everybody else is going, I'm paying higher taxes for their special deal. I'm getting out of here. So it's a net loss the way they're doing it. But the politicians don't think about the business climate. They're thinking about how much money am I going to get in my pocket in my campaign if I vote for this big SOAR, this big, and they want to make this SOAR program permanently. So if taxes that we pay into the state go into this big slush fund for these politicians to distribute so they can hold their big checks up. Look what I brought to the community. But it's a complete net loss for the taxpayers, for the renters, for the homeowners here in the state of Michigan, because businesses, the bulk of the businesses do not like that we got the pickers, the winners, and the losers. And, unless you're the big donor, you're going to be the loser. So I believe you're right on track. And we've come to the end of this segment. But any final words that you want to impart to the viewers?
Is it all right if I give them our website address? We need petition. We need people to help us circulate the petition. We do need 600,000 signatures to go in order to get it on the ballot in November. We know they're going to come after us. I have a couple of Democrat attorneys that are they've already promised to sue us. They've already put podcasts out and sent it to the Board of Commissioners telling us how disastrous this is going to be, right? I think a couple of things. We need petition circulators. They can go to axmitax.org, axmytax.org. Please sign up to be a petition circulator. We need that all across the state of Michigan. I want every county, every township to be represented. I want everyone to be given the opportunity to give their voice and their vote to this and say, no more, we can't do it anymore. And we don't want to give up our land, because when we give up our land, we give up our rights. We will have no more rights once our land is gone and we don't have that private property anymore. We always need funding. We need funding to pay more for more petitions, for postage, for literature, for advertising, to get things out there. They can donate at that same website. The response has been amazing. The educational process for people, I think, has been amazing. There have been some millages that have been turned down because I think people that have come to our presentation, the light bulb goes on and they get a group of people active in their community and they are starting to defeat millages and keeping them off their property tax. Those entities that were relying on those millages, they're going to have to find another revenue source anyway, right? So if those millages are not guaranteed funds, if we vote them down, those entities are going to have to find other avenues already. So it should be easy. By the time we eliminate property tax, they're already in that mindset of how do we do this? But the best thing that I like, Senator, is it should be a community effort. It used to be. We used to get together as a community and say, we need new artificial turf on our football field. And you'd get band boosters and sports boosters, and the whole community would get behind it and donate money. That's how it should be. But it's become too easy to just press that. Let's tax the property tax payers. They just press that button. And then we're saddled with paying for a new football field for 20 years, 20-year millage for a new football field.
You're absolutely correct. So that's xmytax.org.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
xmytax.org. So go on xmytax.org. You can get the petitions there. You can donate there. Let's make this thing happen. I appreciate all your hard work, Karla. So keep up the fight and don't let it go down, and let's get this thing done.
Till God tells me to stop, I'll keep moving forward.
Thank you, Karla.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.